I'm excited about being here. Alabama's farmers and rural communities sent me here to be their voice, and I plan to fight hard on their behalf. Rural Alabama and rural communities all across our nation must not be forgotten. And I will use my position on this committee to express the views and opinions of Alabama farmers so that they can continue to do what they do best, farm their land with undue burdens on them. With farming and forestry combining to make agriculture the largest industry in Alabama, I look forward to serving the Ag Committee to ensure they continue to thrive. In order for the agriculture economy to continue to thrive, farmers must have productive land to produce a crop year in and year out. Farmland acreage across this country, including in Alabama, is not expanding, it is shrinking. The trend continues on our farmers having to produce more with less to feed our country and the world. If the Department of Agriculture is going to play a direct or indirect part in carbon banking or greenhouse gas reduction practices, highly fertile and productive lands cannot be moved into retirement in attempts to achieve this. Additionally, any programs like this, either through the government or the private sector, must be voluntary, market-driven, and incentive-based. According to the Biden administration with the Executive Order on Climate Change, they outlined a 30-30 initiative of conserving at least 30% of our lands and water by 2030. Mr. Isabel, as a farmer, if you lost 30% of your farmland, would you still be profitable, or would then level of reduction to your productive lands have a largely negative effect on your operation?
Thank you, Senator Tuberville. Having working lands programs is always important to active farmers. That's why things like CSP, EQIP, and RCPP that actually promote sustainable practices on land that we're making productive are, in my mind, the most important things to address climate solutions. To your question, that removing significant ground out of production would have a negative economic impact. And that's why I think we need policies that support the activities on working lands and are able to help us continue with that.
Thank you. Today's hearing is farmers and foresters and opportunities to lead in tackling climate change, and I'm all for that. Alabama has 23.1 million acres of forest. 94% of those forests are owned by more than 250,000 private forest owners. Forests need to be protected, but we protect them by managing them, and in keeping a managed forest, it remains healthy and productive. In the South, particularly in Alabama, healthy forests are driven by healthy markets for the products growing in these forests. As I read, you have some timber in your operation, Ms. Whitman. Do you think there's an opportunity to do more in existing forests, especially private and family-owned forests, many of which are also part of a farm, to address climate change?
Well, Senator, thank you for that question. And yes, I absolutely agree that there's a huge opportunity for forests, both large and small, to be part of the climate solution. Trees, as we know, are amazing carbon sinks. A growing tree stores the carbon. When it's harvested, converts that carbon into that carbon resource to permanent storage. If you're taking it into lumber or construction products, then you can replant the tree and start the process over. It's a brilliant mechanism, really. And we believe that with, like you said, with proper forest management, you can really optimize the forest's ability to sequester and store the maximum amount of carbon, while also improving the forest health and its resilience. And we really believe that, much like we need to keep farmers farming, we want to keep our forests as forests. And we need to have the mechanisms available to continue that cycle of growing, harvesting, and replanting those trees. There are a lot of things that we can do that to do that better. I think that we need to continue to develop voluntary market-based incentives, again, to help forest owners like us increase that sequestration. A particular need in our area is continued support for reforestation. It's extremely cost prohibitive to replant after a timber harvest. It can cost upwards of $400 to $500 an acre to replant, but that's oftentimes equal to the value of the property itself in our area. So that's one area that we can really emphasize the need for continued market-based incentives in that area.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.